Hello everyone, my name is Jean-Pierre Gazeau. I am professor, emeritus professor at l'Université de Paris, and I am a member of the laboratory Astroparticules et Cosmology. My research is devoted to mathematical methods in physics, and particularly group theoretical methods applied to quantum physics and also to signal analysis. So these lectures will be an illustration of Lie group theory just with real 2x2 matrices. I will speak essentially about the group SL2R, its Lie algebra. I will define all what is necessary to understand what is a simple Lie group, Lie algebra. And the lectures will be divided in three parts. The first part is an elementary introduction to 2x2 matrices, and in the same way to the group SL2R and its actions on different objects like itself or some manifold and so on. The second part will be devoted to the group SL2R as a Lie group, a simple Lie group. So we will speak about manifold and also about Lie algebra and different decomposition of the group and its Lie algebra. The third part will be devoted to what we call unitary dual of the group SL2R. That means the set of unitary irreducible representation of this group. So let me start the first lesson, and I will put the full screen, so in some sense you will not see my face, I think. Oh, you still see my face. Okay, very good. So, if you type on Google SL2R, and if you go to Wikipedia, so you have a nice presentation of this group, and also on the related nomenclature. So I selected some the most important items. SL2R is a group of all linear transformation of the plane, R2, that preserve oriented area. That means it is a set of 2x2 real matrices with determinant 1. So the group is isomorphic to what we call the symplectic group, sp2r, and the special unitary group, su11. It is also isomorphic to the group of unit-length co-quaternions, a concept I will explain at the end of the first lesson. Now you have, besides SL2R, you have what we call the group SL plus or minus 2R. It is a group which contains SL2R, but now we release the condition determinant equal to 1. Now we add the possibility to have a determinant equal to minus 1. So this group preserves unoriented area. That means it may reverse orientation. SL2R is a connected, non-compact, simple real Lie group. All emphasized words here will be explained later. So it has dimension 3. That means it's sufficient to have 3 parameters to describe it. And it has a lot of application in geometry, topology, representation theory, and physics. There is another important group which is named PSL2R, P like projective. It is a coset, the group coset of SL2R with respect to its discrete subgroup, which is actually the center, made of plus or minus the identity. This coset has interesting descriptions because it is a group of orientation preserving projective transformation of the completed real line R to which you add the infinity point. It is a group of conformal automorphism of the unit disk. It is a group of orientation preserving isometries of the hyperbolic plane. It is restricted Lorentz group of three-dimensional Minkowski space. Equivalently, it is the isomorphic to the indefinite orthogonal group SO012. It follows that SL2R is isomorphic to the spin group SP spin 21 plus. Now you have elements of the modular group PSL2Z, which has additional interpretation as do elements of the group SL2Z, as linear transformation of the torus, the Cartesian product of the unit circle with itself. And this interpretation can also be viewed in light of the general theory of SL2R. So these three lessons should be viewed as a reading guide for a journey in group theory through its emblematic SL2R specimen. So let's go to general definition. A group is what? A group is a set G equipped with an operation that combines any two elements, G1, G2, to form a third element, G3 equal to G1, G2. This operation is associative. That means the result of G1, G2 combined with G3 is equal to the result of G1 with the combination of G2, G3. And we don't need to put parentheses. We call that just G1, G2, G3. A group has an identity element E, which preserves any element of the group under the operation. E.g. is equal to G is equal to G. And every element has an inverse, which means we call this inverse G to the minus 1. G to the minus 1 times G is equal to G times G to the minus 1 is equal to E. Now, two elements G1, G2 of a group G are said conjugates if there exists G, in capital G, such that G2 is equal to G, G1, G minus 1. And this is an equivalence relation whose equivalence classes are called conjugacy classes. So now we go to the definition of SL2R. SL for special linear. SL2R is a set of matrices, 2 by 2 matrices, with real coefficients and with determinant equal to AD minus BC equal to 1. So first exercise, and so I will not solve the exercise here. Of course, I recommend to everyone to try to solve the exercise. Some of them are very simple, some of them are less elementary, but I recommend really to solve them, and afterwards, during the exercise session, we can discuss about, not of course all of them, because there are a lot of exercises, but I can select for instance, questions from the audience, and we will try to solve together those exercises. So the first one is the following: show that SL2R is precisely a group for the matrix multiplication, associativity, identity element, and inverse. Now, the first immediate action of the group SL2R is precisely because it's a group of matrices. It acts on the plane. So what is the transformation first of a set? S, it is a one-to-one mapping of the set onto itself. And when we say a group acts on a set, that means a group is a transformation group of a set S if to each element of the group there is associated a transformation from an element of capital S to another element of capital S, which is denoted G dot S, where for any two elements G1 and G2 of capital G and S in capital S, we have the action of the element G1, G2 on S is equal first to the action of G2 on S, followed by the action of J1 on G1 on G2 dot S. And the set S is then called the G space. We say that the transformation group is transitive on S if for each S1 and S2 in S, there is a G in capital G such that S2 is equal to the action of G on S1. In that case, the set S is called a homogeneous G space. So now let's go to SL2R. SL2R as a group of matrices acts on the Euclidean plane E2, or if you prefer to denote it R2, with basis Ij, which can be orthonormal or arbitrary basis made of two vectors, I and j. Okay, that means E2 is a set of vectors which are linear combination of I and j being linearly independent, of course, and with the components of the linear decomposition are x and y, and the vector itself is denoted by a column vector x and y. And in the Euclidean plane, we have also defined dot product or scalar product or inner product, which is given by the equation v dot v prime is equal to xx prime plus y prime. So what is the SL2R action on E2? It's just you apply the matrix ABCD on the column vector xy in order to get x prime v y prime. That means the vector v prime with component x prime v prime. And the new components are given by the matrix composition laws, ax plus by for x prime, and cx plus dy for y prime. Of course, this action does not preserve the Euclidean structure in general, except if G has specific properties. So the Euclidean plane E2 is a homogeneous SL2R space in the definition I gave previously for the action which was defined in the previous slide. That means for any pair of vectors v, v prime, there exists G in SL2R such that v prime is equal to G acting on v. This is an exercise to be done. So now Under the action of the group SL2R, the Lebesgue measure on R2 is invariant. This Lebesgue measure is also called the symplectic form if you introduce also the orientation, of course, of the infinitesimal area. So it's precisely the equation 1.4, dx prime wedge dy prime is equal to dxy dy, wedge dy, where x prime and y prime are given in terms of x, y by this expression. And this fact, dx prime is dy prime is equal to dx dy, explains the fact SL2R can be identified as well to what we call the symplectic group, real symplectic group of lowest dimension. And just I give an illustration of the way a square in the plane transforms under the action of SL2R. This is a good illustration because we cannot transform, for instance, through SL2R a square into figures for which the boundary is not a straight line, a part of the straight line. Just here, I remember when we consider E2, the Euclidean plane provided, equipped with an orthonormal basis, and use here, I'm using here notation we are known in quantum physics. They are called the Dirac notation for vectors. So, when I deal with an orthonormal basis, two vectors I and J, that means if I introduce the polar angle in the plane for any vector R, polar angle is just theta here. It's the angle, the vector R is, the vector V is making with the axis X, okay? So instead of using the symbol I'm using the symbol ket, where I put the angle, the polar angle here. Just a polar angle of unit vector I. Okay, and this unit vector with respect to this basis is just the column vector also 1, 0. For J, since the angle, polar angle is pi over 2, the ket will be ket pi over 2, and the column vector will be 0, 1. And for a general vector, V, identified with its ket V, it will be the column vector x is equal to r cosine theta, y is equal to r sine theta. And the characteristic of an orthonormal basis in the Euclidean plane is the fact that the scalar product of I with itself is 1, and the scalar product of J with itself is also 1, and the scalar product of I with J is equal to 0, and the fact its basis, orthonormal basis, is also described by this relation. The identity, that means the matrix 1, 1 in the plane, the matrix 1, 1, the 2 by 2 matrix with 1 on the diagonal, which is called the identity matrix. And it's for the group SL2R, I will use instead the symbol E instead of 1 here. It can be decomposed in this matrix plus this one. And this matrix is a projector, orthogonal projector on this axis. And this matrix is the orthogonal projector on this axis. And that can be in the Dirac notation. This one can be written in this way. So here you have the ket, the vector ket, and it's dual. So that will give you, that means it's a row vector here you put, and this is a column vector. So that will give you this matrix, which is a projector, and the same for this vector J. Here you have the ket column vector 0, 1, and here you have the row vector 0, 1, and you get this matrix. And this characterizes the orthonormal basis in the plane E2. So I continue. SL2R acts on the plane. On the question which can be asked under the form of the exercise 1.3, are there stable vectors up to dilation? That means what we call eigenvectors under SL2R actions. In mathematical terms, does it exist V in such a way the action of G on V gives just a dilation or contraction of the vector V, but does not change the direction of V. Just it's a multiplication by a scalar, lambda. So this, if lambda exists, it is called spectral value of G. Okay? And it is possible only, of course, if lambda is a real spectral value of G. Otherwise, if lambda is a complex number, we leave the Euclidean plane and we don't have such property. So finding lambda just amounts to solve algebraic equation, as is well known. That means determinant of G minus lambda E, where E is the identity matrix, and the solution of this equation are given by this expression, 1.5. And now we have the exercise, 1.4, finding corresponding eigenvectors to the two possible lambda. Of course, there are situations where there is only one spectral value. It's exactly when A plus D squared is equal to 4. That means there is a degeneracy of the eigenvalue, which is reduced to 1/2 of A plus D. Okay? And which is, of course, in that case, since A plus D squared is equal to 4, it can be just only 1 or minus 1. That means the eigenvectors in that case is plus E, or it can be minus E. The E is the identity in the group. And the next exercise, in the general case, consists in finding the expression of eigenvectors when you don't have degeneracy. So I recommend to go through this exercise where we have to establish the equation 1.6. Here you have the symbol parallel. Two vectors, two possible spectral eigenvectors. plus 1 for plus, 0 there 1 for minus. And just you have to prove that this expression is for eigenvectors, but it can be as well this one, because eigenvectors are defined up to a common vector, because you can see if you multiply v by scalar, okay, you have exactly the same equation. G A V, for example, alpha v, is equal to lambda alpha v. Okay? So any eigenvectors is defined up to a scalar factor. So now, the next exercise is a little bit less easy. Explain the nomenclature, the following nomenclature, if the modulus of the trace of G, so I remind, the trace of G is the sum of the diagonal elements, A plus D. So if this trace is smaller than 2, then G is said elliptic. If it's larger than 2, it is conjugate to hyperbolic. And if is equal to 2, it is called parabolic. So if it's elliptic, that means G is conjugate to a rotation. When it is hyperbolic, it is a squeeze mapping, and when it is parabolic, it is a shear mapping. So I recommend really to go through this exercise as much as possible in order to understand really what happens when we apply the group of matrices A, B, C, D on the plane. I think it's. I have to go back. There is a problem here. I will start again. I stop at the moment.